Hello everyone and welcome back on my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anna Maria Varju. I'm a fine artist living in the Netherlands, and on this channel I share a lot about my artist life. So last week was the last day of a course I had been teaching at the Classical Art Academy in Groningen, and it was a course about color. Since I am still a bit in the teaching mood, I thought to do a video that was more informative this time. So usually I do a kind of update about what is it that I do. But today I thought it would be nice to do a painting demonstration, and while painting explaining what I do, and don't blame me if I also tell some other things, but it is mainly about what I'm doing in that moment. I know a lot of you have been wanting to see the painting process from start to finish. This one, painting these roses, is not actually from start to finish because I still have to finish it. There are some things I'm not happy about, like this rose seems kind of flat, my husband pointed out. And well, there's some fine tuning to be done. Also, I don't know why, but my camera was giving up on me yesterday when I was painting this. The card was not full, and yeah, well, I don't know what happened, but I had to remove one video about the sketching, the composition sketch, which I always do in advance. So you don't see me doing the composition sketch, and also the last part of the painting with the more details. Some parts I could not put in. So I'm sorry for that, but most of the painting process I did manage to record. So that is what we're going to do today, and there's another very important thing I wanted to say, and it is that I changed email marketing platform. So I'm now on Substack, and the nice thing about Substack is that you can see the whole archive of all my newsletters, well, starting from this month. So I already sent the first newsletter, and each month I will be adding another one, and it will kind of become a bit of a blog. Until now I have been putting a lot of time and energy in the layout of my newsletters. I did it in Canva and with MailChimp, and since I have to do two separate ones, one in Dutch and one in English, it was just a lot of work also with the translation and getting it nicely in the layout. So I thought it would be best to save some time on the email marketing part of my business. And Substack has a very clean, stylish layout. It is nothing fancy, but it is easy to read, and also for me easy to create. So if you have not joined my mailing list until now, I invite you to do so. I have the links of both my Dutch and my English newsletter in the description box below, and if you subscribe, then you will get a PDF of selected sketches from my past sketchbooks. So I hope you will join me, and now just let's dive in the demo, shall we? So I got this tube of Quinacridone Rose, I hope I pronounced it correctly, from my students as a gift after the painting course, on the last lesson of the painting course. And it is from Rembrandt, which is a very good brand, and I myself always paint with Van Gogh because I paint with a lot of paint. So I would pay a lot of money if I would buy Rembrandt all the time, but I'm happy to have one of these special ones in my collection, and today I will use it to paint the pink cloud roses for my garden. As I told you before in the intro, I did make the composition sketch and you just saw it in a shot, but I didn't have enough room on my SD card to record it. So, well, if you want to know how I make those composition sketches, then you can always go and check out some other of my videos. Actually, I have also a video on composition, which is the subject of that video. I will link it here and also in the description box below. And that is my view on composition and what rules there are, with some examples from a book about Zorn. Right here you see me trying to get the right proportions of the frame, which is a thing that many students in my lesson tend to forget, that if you make a sketch with certain proportions, then it has to be that way also when you paint the final version, let's say. Otherwise, it would be pointless to make a composition sketch if you decide to change everything afterwards. So that is what I did in the start, and as you can see, even though I had to speed up the video a bit, otherwise it would be too long. It already is very long, it is almost an hour. So I hope you have a cup of coffee or tea like me with you, and you sit comfortably, because this is gonna take very long. I'm trying to simplify the shapes of the roses, finding the main directional lines and the right angles, and afterwards if I have the outer shape, I will try to add a little bit of contours of the shadow shapes as well. And I have a rule when I teach. I always say to my students, you have to start with the easiest colors. So right here you see me starting with the rose that had broken off the plant because of all the rain and the wind, and this is the rose that is darkest. So the easiest colors are the darkest, the lightest, and the most saturated ones, in sense of the most how do you say that in English? Yeah, like for example, very bright yellow or very bright orange, or colors that are very, very strong and almost need no mixing at all, because you almost can get it from the tube. And the reason why I start with these very bright, dark or light colors is because you are, and I am, quite certain that the color is right. The color I'm mixing is just the way I see it. On the other hand, if you would start with some midtones or colors that are kind of muted, then you probably would have difficulty mixing that color, because it is not a really easy color to mix. So if you're starting with colors that are difficult to mix, then the chance that you would paint them wrongly is quite there, right? So it is probable that you would start with a color that is not the right color. And because colors are relative, then all the other colors you would mix and put beside that first wrong color would be wrong as well. But if you start with some good reference points, like the darkest colors, the brightest colors, the strongest colors, then you would almost be certain that you have made no mistakes in the start, and all the other colors that would follow would be easier to mix because you have this reference point. I don't know if you get the sense. Usually I explain all this in Dutch in my live courses, and since Dutch is one of my native languages, that it's easiest for me. Also, I won't be able to explain it all in Italian, because this kind of language I use in the lessons is, I've always used these terms, art terms, in Dutch and not in Italian when I was in the primary school. Anyway, I'm sorry that you can't see my palette, but yeah, well, I didn't quite manage yet to find a way to film both my panel and my palette at the same time. Obviously I could use my phone, but my phone doesn't have that much storing, so yeah, it is easiest for me to do it this way. And if you want to see me mixing, then you just have to come to one of my live courses until I find a way to put everything together in an easy way in the video. So I started with the darkest part, which is the rose below. And then I got to the very, very bright rose color of the pink cloud roses. And that is actually just that very difficult to pronounce color with a little bit of white. And for the shadow part of those roses, I didn't use the white, and I also added a little bit of either magenta or Alizarin Crimson. I have a lot on my palette this time because I really wanted to see the difference of all these different red pigments. So usually I just have Cadmium Red medium and Alizarin Crimson. But I once bought primary magenta to paint these roses, and then I just had to conclude that it was not the right color for those roses. I could get sort of an interpretation of it, but it was too cool. And now that I found this Quinacridone, well, whatever rose, it is finally the right color to paint the pink cloud. Here I'm adding another dark part. So what I want to do is, after adding all those roses, and I think I put already too much time in painting those roses and reds, because usually I just want to add as many colors as possible from the color spectrum in this still life. And by adding the green, I would immediately start boosting those roses, because obviously the roses look brighter when put next to their complementary color, and green is complementary to red, so that is what is happening. Also, I can make that white, well, very light rose coming towards us. I don't even know what sentence I was making, but I hope it makes sense. And I don't want to spend too much time on those stems, so I will just add some main value blocks and then get on with my life. So the greens are added also, but it was a bit off screen, so you couldn't see it. The leaves that I put on the table. And right now, I'm sorry, my camera just stopped recording while I was adding the shadow parts of the rose that is in the center. but you can see it right now with the other rose. It is squeezed in between the very bright ones. It is a smaller rose. This is the new Dawn. Right here in the Netherlands, it has been raining for ages. So this painting is going to be called Rescued Roses because they have been rescued by me from the garden, where they will definitely just turn ugly, and nobody will see their beauty if they're staying outside on a plant with all this rain and wind. So I'm still using my very large brush. I think it is 3 centimeters or maybe even more. I like to use this one. It is a Bristol brush. I always use Bristol brushes, by the way, because it allows me to apply a lot of fat paint layers. And with a big brush, I can quickly do the block in and also make a nice textured brush stroke. So when I would have to do some more detailed work, I would have enough paint on there to work with. So after I did the block-in of the roses, I start adding a new color, which is the purple. And after adding the purple here in the background, I would also go and see if I would have kind of an echo of the purple in other places as well. So this is the shadow part of the stripes, because they are kind of away from the window, and it's not really purple, of course. It is Ultramarine Blue with Alizarin Crimson and a little bit of Siena and also a little bit of yellow in order to make it somewhat a faded purple. And I'm just trying to do this as quickly as I can. Also because I'm painting indoors, but my studio is facing the south, so there is a lot of change of light during the day. And so in total, I think I painted this bouquet of flowers in 3 hours or 4 hours, something like that. Quite long. But then again, it was a lot of mixing. So the color of the stripes at the other side of the roses is mixed separately. Something I hear a lot from my students is that when they mix a certain color and then they see either the shadow or the light version of that color, they ask if they can just use the color they already had to mix it. But no, I'm really a person and a painter who tries to mix everything separately. Especially when it is such a difference in value, so from light and dark part. Probably what people would say about my work is that it is very strong colors. It is very vibrant, and that is because color is my main source of inspiration. So I often said in other videos that nature is my source of inspiration, but that is true if you really want to address the subject. But what gets to me in the first place when I see something is the colors of the subject. And the colors for me are always nicest in in nature. So that is why nature is my source of inspiration. But when I see a subject, I'm touched by the colors, and my whole technique is about this alla prima technique with a lot of paint. Is about keeping my brush clean and keeping all the brush strokes clean as well, all the colors clean. I would never just fuss away and try to smooth one color into the other. If I do that, then it is only in the final stage when trying to add more rounding or softer edges or whatever. But even then, I don't do that very often. I just try to mix colors separately and then hope that I will do justice to my subject. So you already saw me doing a lot. I'm doing the darkest parts of the table right now. And this table we bought at the second-hand shop, and it has a surface that is full of dark and light patches, and I use it as a studio table for a long time before moving into my home studio. So it has been wearing off, and that is what I like about it. You can see so many colors inside that wood. So this is very useful when painting any subject placed upon it. Right here you see me adding some green parts, also some parts mixed with a little bit of the rose in it as well. And in the parts that I mix, that you can see through the glass, the glass jar, that is also a little bit purple. So adding more light, because as I said, you see the change in light a lot in this room. So there was more light coming in because the sun came, and I thought it looked better in the composition. So trying to simplify this jar, placing some large brush strokes with color. And this color that is in the bottom of the jar is very useful to get a color harmony and connection between the colors, because it is not green, but you can see it is a little bit greenish, but it is also a bit purple, and the part above that bottom stroke in the glass jar is a little bit rosy. So you have muted versions of the colors that are present in the bouquet. Okay, so some time to eat. Obviously, I also have to do that. It's always nice to take a break, not only because, well, my belly has to be filled, but also because it allows me to just take a good moment to take some distance from what I'm doing. If you're just working the whole time, then you become blind to your own mistakes. And going downstairs to prepare my sandwich and afterwards getting in the studio again, that is really enough distance to look at my work with a kind of new eye and see what still has been done, or what I should do differently, what has to be added first. And right here I thought it would be best to add the roses on the rose petals on the table in order to get a good view on my composition. And while adding these petals, I'm really mindful about the kind of rose I use in there, because I want my upper roses, let's call them, to be my focus and to be the most important also when it comes to saturation and warmth. So in the petals that are placed on the table, I'm using more magenta, which is cooler than the other rose I named in the start of the video. I'm not gonna name it again because I don't have the tube right here, so I can't just read it, and I'm afraid I will pronounce it badly the whole time. So yeah, just really trying to paint a kind of suggestion. And right here in this corner, I'm not really sure about what it is that I'm doing, because when it comes to the composition, well, in the end you will see that I will just scrape it off and place something else really in the down corner. I thought it would look nicer to place the petals and the green leaves in a kind of diagonal that is a contra diagonal to the diagonal in the bouquet. Well, I don't know if it makes any sense if I say it like this, and I can't really show it to you with my hands in this moment. But you will see that I will scrape it off, and hopefully it will be clear to you what I mean by placing those petals and the leaves in a diagonal direction. And this is all happening off screen, but every time I place a brush stroke and I want to change color, or I see that that I need the same color but I don't have enough on my brush, I either take more color or mix a new color or more of the same. But if I have to change color, I always clean my brush in the cloth I'm holding in my left hand. So that cloth is really saturated with paint. But this is truly the only secret to painting in the clean way I am painting. So that is the mistake, or mistakes, oh well, I don't know if I would call it mistakes. It all happens, it all depends from what you want. But a lot of students in my courses say they want bright colors and that they tend to smudge everything in the painting, and then they get like poop colors, a poop colored subject, or a really muddy looking painting. And yeah, the only thing you have to remind yourself is to constantly keep your brush clean. So people often ask me this, well, how do you get those very bright colors? I wouldn't be able to do it. And then I would say, well, it's just a matter of keeping your brush clean. So it's really just a discipline you have to teach yourself. There's nothing really special about it. Anyway, I'm doing that, cleaning my brush all the time. And if I wouldn't do it, then it would become a muddy painting. If you paint with this amount of paint anyway. Also, I think that if you would paint everything with a very good quality paint, like Rembrandt or well, here we have Old Holland. I don't know what brands there are in the other countries, but these are the ones that, at least at my art supply shop, have the highest amount of pigment. If you would smudge those ones a little bit, I think that it would yeah, have a less dramatic effect than if you do it with the paint I use, which is Van Gogh. Because Van Gogh has less pigment, and I only use it because I place these very fat, saturated brush strokes, and so I really don't see any difference whether I'm using Rembrandt or Van Gogh. You only see it when you dilute paint, or yeah, probably also when you try to smudge it. So here I'm adding the stripes, and I'm trying already to, well, this is very funny how I'm doing this. I didn't really see, I wasn't really conscious about what I was doing while painting it, but now in the voiceover I see that I was holding my brush in a way that when I would get to the shadow part in the white, I would kind of turn it so that the darker red that was on one side of my brush would hit there, and then I would just, I don't know if you can see it, turn the brush a bit again. Yeah, you can't see it anymore here. So anyway, you can already see that the red is darker in the shadow part of the white. So you get this, yeah, this more depth. And right here I am trying to, and kind of failing to get more depth in this rose. What I find very difficult is that nature is really just brighter than what you tend to get on the painting. I don't think that is because I can't paint. If there's one thing I'm quite sure about, is that mixing color is a thing that I'm very good at. So either it is because my palette just doesn't allow me to paint more color, or yeah, I don't know what it is, but I just, to create more depth, I would have to add more values in this rose, and by adding darker values I would kind of lose the brightness of the color, if you know what I mean. It's either sacrificing depth or sacrificing color. At least that was in this rose for me. And so it was very painful when my husband said afterwards that it looked flat. But in the end, I think that maybe it just looks flat because I made the stupid decision to place a dark green. You can't see it now yet. Right here I'm just adding more color to the rose to make it match the colors of its surroundings more, and also scraping off some parts I was not happy about to create some more light in the petals. But I would make, after this, the very stupid decision to place a very dark green brush stroke under this rose, so it looks kind of cut off from the rest of the bouquet. So that is the thing that I might have to adjust. Everything I have to adjust right now as I'm recording this voiceover are things that I just do from my imagination and intuition, because the bouquet has already changed and some flowers have been shedding off their petals. So yeah, that's what happens. Yesterday I did want to add some more to the bouquet, but I couldn't because at the daycare the children were My youngest doesn't sleep. She should do a nap, like around midday. But since a week or two, she is just being a bit difficult with the naps, at least at school, at the daycare. So I would have to go and get her 2 hours before I usually go. And so I lost 2 working hours, and I couldn't add anything to this painting anymore. So yeah, that's life when you're a mother. Things just go differently than you would expect them to. And it doesn't matter. I really enjoyed painting this bouquet, and it is a challenge to go and try to fix some things without the subject being there. So right here I am trying to add some more detail to the rose, the New Dawn rose, but I don't want to make it look like really detailed. I just want it to keep this abstract value. There are some paintings of roses by Sorolla. Usually when you think of Sorolla's gardens, then or roses, then you think of his garden paintings with these rambler roses, climbing roses, cascade of flowers. But he also has some still lifes, and what I like about those is that he really tried to simplify the roses, even in his still lifes. So practically just painting the shadow part and the light part, and maybe one more value, and letting the rose do its job just by pronouncing its specific shape, and his placement, of course, in the composition. So in this rose here, I don't want to paint petal by petal, but I want to add the maximum color. And yeah. It is difficult for me to show all these things properly. In my life lessons, I always do a demo, and then I have to concentrate only on the blocking, usually, and I try to do a small part of the whole painting. But right here it is difficult because I painted this in advance, and I had to speed up the painting to make it fit in this video. Obviously it was almost 4 hours of painting, so this video is not even an hour long. I know you guys, you asked me to show more real-time painting, but I hope this is good enough for you, because I did have to speed it up a bit. Otherwise it will also become too boring, I guess. I think in this speed you can see my brush strokes well without having to wait too long until you see the next brush stroke. If you agree with me and you like this speed, then please let me know in the comments below. It's always nice to have some feedback on the work I'm doing here on YouTube. I know I don't have a lot of following yet. Oh, don't touch my microphone. So I can't expect to get a lot of comments, but if you're watching this video and you like it and you think it's useful, then I would be so grateful to have some feedback from you. Even if you don't think it is great and you would like to see something be changed, I would be happy to know about it. Right now it feels like just doing something for myself and yeah, waiting for something to happen. I do enjoy making these videos, especially the ones with the update on my projects. This one with the demo is different, of course. I would love to know which one is your favorite, the more vlog kind video. Well, we're not really vlogs, but more kind of an update and a chat about what it is that is on my mind and on my schedule. Or these demonstration kind videos. It sounds kind of silly, but it feels like it is less creative to to do a demonstration video when, of course, all I do is create in this video, but putting everything together is less creative. So it's just I can't do much with the moving of the camera, and yeah, it's just a matter of speeding up the shots I made of the painting. So there is no much fun in the editing of the video, but the result is funny to watch. Right now with the voiceover, I'm watching the painting process. And the painting process is usually, I am conscious of what I'm doing, of course, but a lot of the painting just goes by intuition. So it is funny to see which decisions I'm making. I want to make the white rose less fluffy by adding some stronger colors to, like these deep darks, to make the rose jump towards us. And not only because I want that, but also because it's just there. Well, it's seldom the case that I would just add things that are not there. Nature is just as beautiful as it can get. There's nothing much for me to do, at least just try to capture it in its essence. So the nice thing about these hanging roses is that they are cooler in color. I already used some magenta to show these hanging petals. But right now I also added some kind of cool green and some purple to really make it differ from the rose that is on top, the eye-catching one. Diversity is really important when you're painting. When you're painting flowers in any way, also in a garden, if you have a bush of roses or other flowers, then it's very important that you don't treat all the flowers in exact the same way, but that you make a choice on which one you want to emphasize and which ones you want to go more to the background. And you could do that in a more forced way, but usually it is already the case in nature itself. So also for me, this wasn't difficult to do in a sense. Well, it was difficult to paint, but it wasn't difficult to see the difference between the roses, because these ones were really cooler than the one that is on top. Oh, sorry. I'm having to do this voiceover very quickly because Yesterday I didn't manage to make the video because I had to go and get the kids from the daycare when I thought I would have more time. Yeah, I called my mother if I could just go and bring the children to her for an hour or so to be able to do this voiceover. Since this voiceover is going to be very long, because the video is very long, probably when I'm done with the voiceover I will just have to jump in the car and go back to my children again. So I hope you really appreciate the time and effort I'm putting in this video. It has been a very long time that I painted my last bouquet of flowers. Actually, I enjoy most painting outside. And speaking of painting outside, I wanted to mention something about an artist that I discovered, which is CHADWICK, and I discovered her. I think I already saw some videos she made last year, but not a long time ago someone on Instagram reminded me of her work, and I took a look at her YouTube channel, and I was really amazed with different kinds of content that are there. CHADWICK, she lives in Cornwall, and she goes sketching outside a lot. She's an illustrator, and I love how she makes this Draw and Explore podcast, where she takes you with her for a walk in her surroundings, and you hear the seagulls and other sounds from birds and the wind, and she tells you what she sees and what she wants to draw and what she is doing. It's only half an hour and then it's done, but I think it's so inspiring, as is the work she's doing in her sketchbooks. I subscribed for her newsletter on Substack, and yeah, I was really inspired by her as well as other artists to go and have a Substack as well. So while painting these flowers, these Mozart roses, I'm paying much attention to the color that is in the center of those little roses, because it is, well, when you just see it in a bright sunlight, then the heart of the roses is white. But since these ones were not really open yet and they were in the shadow, they were kind of grayish. But if there's something I never paint, it is real gray. Everything always reflects, all the light reflects, all the color reflects. So I thought the heart of these roses, if you can see them, because right now it just looks like an abstract painting, but those cooler brushstrokes are the hearts of these small roses, and I painted them with Viridian in it. Obviously not pure Viridian, but I mixed it with some rose as well. And I think it matches the colors of the leaves of the roses very well. So there you have another link with the greens. I always pay attention to make sure no color is looking weird, as if it were cut out from the rest of the painting. everything has to be in harmony. Every color has to find an echo in another part of the painting. So painting the hearts of these roses with a green hue was for me a way to link the green of the leaves, but also to accentuate the roses more and the reds, because by placing these green hues, the reds would look more red, as I told you also earlier in this video. We are nearing the end of this demo. I just want to conclude by thanking you for watching it. I hope you like seeing the painting process, and soon, when I will be happy, satisfied with the result, I will place it on Instagram. And here you see me erasing the part of the lower part of the painting, as I was telling you before that I would do that. And you can see from the left to the right that there is a kind of diagonal. I hope you liked seeing this video. Thank you. And if you liked it, if you found it useful, then please like this video, and maybe you would even subscribe. It would be just great, because by subscribing, you're making my videos, my content easier to find for other people like you who found it interesting. It would help my channel to grow, and since it is still quite small, it would be great if I could just have more people to see my videos, and by that also getting more feedback on what I'm doing and if I'm bringing any value to you. So I hope to see you next time. Next week I will be painting in the great outdoors on a painting festival in Noordwijk, and I would be happy to share a lot about it with you in the next video. So subscribe please, and if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, please consider doing that as well. The links will be in the description box below. Bye!